After 42 years as an ER surgeon, something strange happened. I started noticing the same symptoms in myself that I used to see in the seniors walking into my clinic: the heavy legs, the slower circulation, that feeling that your body is not responding the way it used to. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't just treating it anymore, I was experiencing it. So I decided to test something not in theory on myself. I took the simplest daily habit, water, and I started experimenting. I added everything you can imagine, more than 60 different powders, compounds, combinations over and over again. Some did nothing, some made things worse. Most were completely useless, but only a few, changed something. Here's what shocked me: it was never about drinking more water, it was about how your body reacts to it. And after 60, that reaction becomes weaker unless you trigger it the right way. When I finally narrowed it down, there were only 5 that actually made a noticeable difference. Not slowly, not over months, but in a way you could feel better. Circulation, lighter legs, more response. The hidden signs of poor circulation in the body. And that's when I realized why so many seniors keep doing the right things and still feel stuck, because they're missing the one small shift that changes how the body uses what you give it. In this video, we will reveal those 5 specific additions you can use in your water, ranked from the least powerful to the most powerful. And the B, number 3, is something I almost ignored at first, yet it ended up making the biggest difference. If you're curious where this comes from, I've added the details in the description below. Before we dive in, here's a quick question: how old were you? I read every comment and I truly want to know your age. Now, let's begin with number 5, because this one already starts changing how your body responds within minutes. Number 5, cucumber and mint infusion. This first trick is one of the simplest. It use changes you can make, and yet most people completely overlook it. We are talking about adding fresh cucumber, slices, and a handful of mint leaves to your water and letting it infuse for at least 30 minutes before drinking. Now, you might be thinking this sounds like something you would get at a fancy spa, but the science behind it is incredibly serious. Cucumbers are loaded with a compound called silica, which plays a direct role in maintaining the structural integrity of your blood vessel walls. As you age past 60, those vessel walls become thinner and less elastic, which makes it harder for blood to flow smoothly. Silica helps reinforce the connective tissue that holds those vessels together. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging found that participants who increased their dietary silica intake showed a 12% improvement in arterial flexibility over a 12-week period. That is significant when you consider that even a small gain in flexibility translates to better blood pressure, regulation, and more efficient oxygen delivery throughout the body. Now, the mint is not just there for flavor. Mint contains rosmarinic acid, a natural compound that acts as a vasodilator, meaning it helps your blood vessels relax and widen. When your vessels are wider, blood can pass through with less resistance and less strain on your heart. A study in the journal Phyto Medicine demonstrated that rosmarinic acid reduced vascular resistance by roughly 15% in older adults within just 2 weeks of consistent use. The best way to prepare this is to take half a medium cucumber and slice it thin. Then grab about 10 to 12 fresh mint leaves and gently crush them between your fingers to release the oils. Drop everything into a pitcher of filtered water and let it sit in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes. Though overnight infusion gives you the strongest concentration, drink this throughout the day, aiming for at least 3 full glasses. The key is consistency, because the benefits compound over time as your blood vessels gradually regain some of their lost elasticity. You can prepare a fresh batch every morning and keep it cold, so the compounds stay active and potent all day long. One thing to keep in mind is that you want to use organic cucumbers when possible because the skin contains most of the silica and you do not want pesticide residue getting into your infusion. This simple combination works on two fronts simultaneously, strengthening your vessel walls while also relaxing them for easier blood flow. It is a 1-2 punch that plain. Water simply cannot deliver on its own. But cucumber and mint are just the beginning because the next trick targets something even deeper inside your bloodstream. But before we continue, if you have been enjoying the video so far, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more videos like this. Number 4, lemon and raw ginger water. This combination has been used in traditional medicine for centuries, but modern science has finally caught up and confirmed exactly why it works so well for blood circulation in aging adults. We are talking about squeezing fresh lemon juice into your water and adding thin slices of raw ginger root. Lemon is one of the richest natural sources of vitamin C, and this vitamin is absolutely essential for the production of a molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is like a master switch for your blood vessels. It tells them when to relax and widen, which allows blood to flow freely to your extremities, your brain, and your heart. The problem is that after 60, your body produces significantly less nitric oxide on its own. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that adults who consumed higher levels of vitamin C had 23% higher nitric oxide production availability compared to those with low intake. That difference alone can mean the gap between healthy circulation and the kind of sluggish blood flow that leads to cold hands, fatigue, and cognitive decline. Now, the ginger is where things get even more powerful. Ginger contains compounds called gingerols and shoggols that have been shown to inhibit platelet aggregation, which is a fancy way of saying they prevent your blood from getting too sticky and clumping together. When blood platelets clump, they slow down flow and increase your risk of dangerous clots. A clinical trial published in the journal Thrombosis Research showed that participants who consumed the equivalent of 2 grams of raw ginger daily experienced a 19% reduction in platelet aggregation after just 8 weeks. That means blood was flowing more smoothly and with less risk of blockage throughout their entire cardiovascular system. To prepare this properly, take a 2-1 full lemon and squeeze it fresh into a large glass of water. Then peel a 1-inch piece of raw ginger and slice it into thin coins before dropping them in. For maximum benefit, let the ginger sit in the water for at least 15 minutes so the active compounds leach out into the liquid. You can also grate the ginger finely and stir it directly in if you prefer a stronger concentration. Drink this first thing in the morning on an empty stomach because absorption rates are highest when your digestive system is not competing with food. Try to get at least 2 servings of this mixture per day, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. The lemon and ginger work together in a synergistic way where the vitamin C boosts nitric oxide production while the ginger keeps the blood itself in an optimal flowing state. If you find the ginger too intense, start with a smaller piece and work your way up over a week or 2 as your palate adjusts. Now, this next trick takes things to another level because it targets the health of your red blood cells themselves. Number 3, beetroot juice diluted in water. If there is one drink that has taken the cardiovascular research world by storm over the past decade, it is beetroot juice. And for very good reason. Beets are the single richest natural source of dietary nitrates, which your body converts directly into nitric oxide through a pathway that starts in your mouth and continues in your stomach. This is critical because, as we discussed, why seniors need this more than others. Nitric oxide is the key molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and dilate. But here is what makes beetroot different from other nitric oxide boosters. The concentration of nitrates in beets is so high that the effects are measurable within just a few hours of drinking it. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Hypertension found that participants who drank roughly 250 milliliters of beetroot juice experienced a significant drop in blood pressure and a 20% increase in blood flow to their muscles within just 3 hours. That is not a gradual improvement over months. That is your body responding almost immediately to a flood of usable nitrates. Another study from the University of Exeter, published in the Journal of Applied Physiology, found that older adults who consume beetroot juice daily for 2 weeks showed a 16% improvement in exercise endurance, directly linked to improved oxygen delivery through better blood circulation. The reason we dilute it in water rather than drinking it straight is twofold. First, concentrated beetroot juice can be quite strong on the stomach. What to add to your water step by step for older adults, and diluting it makes it much easier to digest. Second, spreading it out in water means you sip it over a longer period, which gives your body a more sustained release of nitrates rather than one overwhelming spike. To prepare this, take about 150 milliliters of pure beetroot juice with no added sugars and mix it into a large glass of water, roughly 300 million. Stir it well and drink it in the morning, ideally about 2 hours before any physical activity, because that is when peak nitric oxide conversion occurs. If you prefer whole beets, you can boil or roast one medium beet and blend it with water to create your own fresh juice at home. The key is consistency, because daily intake keeps nitric oxide levels elevated throughout the day rather than creating short temporary spikes. One important note is that beetroot juice may turn your urine or stool a reddish color. This is completely harmless and is just a natural pigment called betanin passing through your system. Do not let it alarm you, because it is actually a sign that the active compounds are being processed properly by your body. But as powerful as beets are, the next trick works on a completely different mechanism that most people have never heard of. Number 2, cayenne pepper, warm water tonic. This trick might sound intense, but the research behind it is absolutely compelling, especially for adults over 60 dealing with poor circulation in their legs, hands, and feet. We are talking about adding a small amount of cayenne pepper to warm water and drinking it as a daily tonic. Cayenne pepper contains a compound called capsaicin, which is the molecule responsible for that burning sensation when you eat spicy food. But what most people do not realize is that capsaicin is one of the most potent natural vasodilators ever studied. When capsaicin enters your bloodstream, it triggers the release of substance P and calciton gene, related peptide, two neuropeptides that cause your blood vessels to rapidly expand. A clinical study published in the journal Clinical Nutrition found that participants who consumed capsaicin daily for 4 weeks experienced a 26% improvement in peripheral blood flow, meaning blood was reaching their extremities much more effectively. Another study published in the British Journal of Clinical Pharmacology found that capsaicin consumption increased microcirculation, the flow of blood through your tiniest capillaries, by up to 31% in older adults. This is particularly important because microcirculation is what delivers oxygen and nutrients directly to your tissues at the cellular level. When microcirculation declines, you get symptoms like numbness in your toes, slow wound healing, and skin that bruises easily. To prepare this tonic, start with a large mug of warm water, not boiling, but comfortably warm. Add just 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper powder and stir thoroughly until it is fully dissolved. This starting dose is very mild and will produce just a gentle warmth in your throat and stomach. Over the course of 2 weeks, you can gradually increase to 1/4 teaspoon as your tolerance builds. Drink this once daily. I preferably in the morning, about 30 minutes before breakfast. The warm water is important because it helps the capsaicin natural alternatives that also help absorb more quickly through your stomach lining and into your bloodstream. If you find the taste too sharp, you can add a Small squeeze of lemon to mellow it out without reducing the effectiveness. People who are taking blood thinning medications should consult their doctor before starting this because capsaicin can enhance the effects of those drugs. However, for most healthy adults over 60, this tonic is a safe and remarkably effective way to push blood into areas of your body that have been slowly losing circulation for years now. Everything we have covered so far has been powerful, but this final trick is the one that researchers say produced the most dramatic results they have ever seen in a circulation study. Number one, hibiscus flower cold brew. This is the trick that earned the number one spot on this list. And once you hear the research, you will understand exactly why. Hibiscus flowers, specifically the dried petals of the Hibiscus septifol plant, contain an extraordinarily high concentration of anthocyanins and polyphenols that work directly on your blood vessels in a way no other natural ingredient can match. When you cold brew these petals in water overnight, you extract the maximum amount of these compounds without destroying them with heat. A landmark clinical trial published in the Journal of Human Hypertension studied adults with an average age of 65 and found that those who consumed hibiscus water daily for 6 weeks experienced a 44% improvement in flow mediated dilation, which is the gold standard measurement for how well your blood vessels expand and contract. That 44% number stunned the researchers because it rivals the effects of some prescription medications designed specifically for vascular health. Another major study published in FOIA found that hibiscus extract reduced arterial stiffness by 17% in older adults over just 4 weeks. Arterial stiffness is one of the primary drivers of poor circulation after 60 because stiff arteries cannot flex and push blood forward the way healthy elastic vessels can. The anthocyanins and hibiscus work by increasing the bioavailability of nitric oxide while simultaneously reducing oxidant distress in the endothelial cells that line your arteries. Think of it as both boosting the signal for your vessels to relax and cleaning up the damage that has been preventing them from responding properly. To prepare this correctly, take 2 tablespoons of dried hibiscus petals and place them in a large glass jar with about 1 lit of cold filtered water. Do not use hot water because temperatures above 70 degrees destroy a significant portion of the anthocyanins. Place the jar in your refrigerator and let it steep for a minimum of 8 hours, though 12 hours produces the strongest concentration. In the morning, strain out the petals and drink the deep red final tips for daily use liquid throughout the day. It has a naturally tart flavor similar to cranberry, and you can add a small amount of raw honey if you need to. Soften the taste. Aim for 3 to 4 glasses spread across the day so your blood vessels receive a continuous supply of these protective compounds. You can find dry hibiscus petals at most health food stores, international grocery shops, or online. They are incredibly affordable, and a single bag can last you weeks. The consistency of daily intake is what matters most because the studies showing the strongest results were all based on regular uninterrupted consumption over multiple weeks. This is not a one time fix, but rather a daily habit that progressively restores vascular function that you may have been losing for decades without even realizing it. And that brings us to the end of these powerful tricks that can transform ordinary water into a circulation, boosting drink your body has been craving. The beautiful thing is that none of these require a prescription. None of them are expensive, and all of them are backed by real published clinical research. You can start with just one of these tricks today and build from there as you discover which ones work best for your body. Your blood vessels have the ability to recover and improve at any age. And sometimes all they need is the right support dissolved in a simple glass of water. If you found this information helpful, please hit that subscribe button so you do not miss future videos where we break down the latest science on staying healthy and strong after 60. Thank you so much for watching.